My name is Tammy Barney. This is my planned field experience, Activity 2, Proposition number 2 and 5. Teachers know the subjects they teach and how to teach those subjects to students. Teachers are members of learning communities. Proficiency 1. Consider the general characteristics of the Millennial Generation. What skills, strengths, and gaps, as well as preconceptions, do these students bring to your class? Devise a set of diverse instructional strategies to teach these students. I am here today to give you my expertise on educating and understanding the Millennial Generation. You see, I myself was born into Generation X, but have 2 millennial children. I think I have the best of both worlds. For in my world, Generation X, we too are resourceful and highly adaptive to change. This is a benefit for someone like me, not only raising millennial children, but educating them as well. Millennial children possess many positive qualities, and this generation has so much to offer in our technical savvy world. Millennials are globally concerned, confident, realistic, technically efficient, very intelligent, supportive, team players, and are contributors, to name a few. As I think of these characteristics of a generation to be taught, I reflect on many personal educational experiences I have had in currently raising my millennial boy and girl. Like my children, millennials are sheltered. We Generation X parents learned early that we wanted to be completely there for our kids. Sometimes maybe too much, but in today's world of disaster, crime, violence, and gangs, I believe the innate feeling comes from a nurturing parent perspective of safety. Because of this mindset, millennials can bring challenges as well. They have wonderfully been born into this fast-paced technical world that naturally illuminates characteristics such as being unappreciative, overly competitive, lazy, no patience, lacks understanding of consequences to actions, and is on mental and physical overload. Undoubtedly, this brings challenges to motivating students to learn. Even more so than that, school choice brings to sight online learning. This environment demands parental support, and because most parents are of previous generations, there are important things to consider when collaborating with parents. You need to be informative, understanding, encouraging, and welcome open communication. It is this effort of teamwork that will elevate the student to academic success. This brings me to the lesson excerpt that President of 21st Century Skills, Mr. Ken Kay, examines that millennial students, in addition to the 3 R's, need the 4 C's for life skills, global competition, and professional development. We as teachers must incorporate critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. With respect to content, we need to teach students how to teach themselves. Information is important to learn, but accessing, analyzing, and applying that information with today's technology is even more important. That's critical thinking. Working with teachers and parents, that's communication. Using technology to connect with resources and people from around the world, that's collaboration. And finally, finding your students' inner strengths and motivating initiatives, that's creativity. Another very important issue regarding the millennials is culture. This generation is so diverse. They were born into a mindset that people do matter, and they form tight peer bonds. What society graciously accepted years ago, this generation has redefined. They dare to be different and welcome new ideals. They are consistently convenienced with technology and have so much information and socialization at their fingertips that they become very independent. How ironic that these students are socially dependent, yet academically independent. Or are they academically dependent, yet socially independent? How do we begin to manage this millennial generation? The focus is on performance, and there are 7 ways, according to Steve Mayer, CEO of the Rapid Learning Institute, to help accomplish this. Number 1, begin by requiring strong leadership. Create a game plan. Number 2, set goals, corporate, departmental, and individual. This establishes credibility and honesty. Number 3, embrace technology and change. Good leaders become good role models. Number 4, include millennials in teams and advice. This makes them feel a part of the team. Number 5, partner millennials with other members. A mixture of ideas always becomes beneficial. Number 6, keep millennials involved. It keeps those informed. Number 7, provide mentor programs. This opens up an avenue for communication, expectations, and reinforcements of processes and procedures. Learning all of this millennial information, Let's directly apply it to the classroom by interviewing Mrs. Allison Duran, an instructional supervisor here at PA Cyber. Hi Allison. I am very interested if you'd like to share your thoughts on the Millennial Generation and how these students have impacted your instruction, particularly in the classroom. So I have a couple questions for you. Knowing the characteristics of the Millennial Generation, what skill strengths do you see they bring to your class, and how do you utilize those strengths in your lessons?
Well, I myself am part of the Millennial Generation, so I always try to think of if I would like to be learning the lesson and how I would adapt to the lesson. A lot of times I'll incorporate the technology. I like things fast-paced. I know that my students like things fast-paced as well. I offer them a lot of flexibility with, turning in assignments, and I give them some freedom to do things on their own. So that's mainly how I incorporate, their characteristics, just giving them that extra freedom.
Makes a lot of sense. Well, what obstacles or benefits do you see these parents of the millennials bring to their child's education? How do you involve these baby boomers and Generation X parents like us to adjust to modern technology and education?
Unfortunately, I do see a lot of obstacles, being, a millennial myself and my parents being baby boomers. The baby boomer and Generation X is not as comfortable with technology as the millennials. And unfortunately, sometimes the millennials like to take advantage of their parents' disadvantage, and they will often hide information from them. I know here at our school, the baby boomers and Generation X, the parents have access to their students' grades, their progress, but a lot of times they're not comfortable with checking that. So the millennials will take advantage, and the parents may not know all of the information or their grades. A way that we try to help the parents here is we do have a resource center available for them. We have support available to teach them how to check their grades, teach them how to access their progress, and help keep them on track.
Awesome. Well, what characteristics of the millennials do you often find challenge 21st century learning, and how do you address these issues in your classroom?
I think the biggest challenge is they like things fast-paced. They become bored easily. They're not patient. They want things when they want it. In order to fix this issue in my classroom, a lot of times I'll just vary the learning. Just make sure that I'm engaging them with different things, and we're always trying something new so that they're not becoming bored and getting impatient, and it's not the same thing at each day.
Sure. Well, Ken Kay is the president of Partnership for 21st Century Skills, and he describes the necessary skills for 21st century readiness. And they are the 3 R's, of course, and the 4 C's. And the 4 C's being critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. How do you, or we at PA Cyber here, incorporate the 4 C's into the classroom?
I think the 4 C's are very important, and when making lessons I always try to think of those. An example that I think about every day is giving them a real world issue that they need to solve. It makes them be creative and innovative with their thinking and actually analyze the information. They need to then work with a team. I'll usually put them in groups together where they work within a group to solve an issue and communicate their results.
Oh, very good. Well, with the millennial generation focusing on teamwork, how do you incorporate this very important characteristic in your classroom, knowing that cultural diversity plays an integral part in your students?
I think the millennial generation, they don't even see that gap there that the older generations may. They're so used to working in these groups. I know even throughout my schooling I've always been in a group environment, working as a team, and I think that they expect that. So within my lessons I always try to incorporate team activities or team groups.
Well, cultural resiliency includes 5 essential competencies that are all important in millennial learning. Which one do you feel has the greatest impact that you focus on your classroom? Would it be critical analysis, adaptability and agility, teamwork, cross-cultural communication, or innovation and imagination?
I would say that I do focus a lot on innovation and imagination. That's just where I like to focus, but I think one of the most important areas to focus on that a lot of people they don't put the time into it, is adaptability and agility. I think that that's easily forgotten, and they now tell us that our generation will have about, I think 7 or 8 career changes, and that's career changes, not even just job changes. And our students need to be ready to, be adaptable and be open to change. Their parents may have had the same job their entire life, may have had the same career their entire life, and they're not so much, open to change. They get a lot of anxiety with it, and I think that it's important to prepare our students to have be adaptable and be ready for change, and know that there's probably a lot of different areas that they're going to have to learn, and just be ready for that.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Allison. You have given us some important information and views on teaching children of the millennial generation, and I see we have a lot to consider when it comes to effective teaching as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Four insights that we gained from today's video are: 1. Respect and understand millennial characteristics and how they learn. 2. Openly utilize technology and reciprocal teach. 3. Incorporate 21st century skills and include cultural resiliency with innovation. 4. Parents play an integral part in student learning. 4 goals that we will achieve after viewing this video are: 1. Seek each student's talents and welcome their contribution to learning. 2. Teach skill sets as well as content. 3. Promote effective collaboration in the classroom. And 4. Embrace parental support and welcome their participation in learning. Thank you for viewing our explanation of educating the millennial generation. Our references today are from Dr. Clint Bourne, Learning Session 3, Understanding the Millennial Generation, Future Skills, and Millennials in the Job Market. Reference number 2 is from Mr. Ken K, Fusing the 3 R's and 4 C's for Century Readiness, EDU Vision Partnership for 21st Century Skills. And third, Steve Mayer, 7 Ways to Manage the Millennials, from Hub Pages. Thank you.